Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Tell Great Stories, the podcast that looks back at some of Unbound Theatre's past projects and productions. In this episode, we're looking back at two shows we performed as part of Aylesbury Town Council's Aylesbury on Sea event, Wind in the Willows from 2018 and Treasure Island from 2019. Joining me to discuss these productions are...
Hello, my name is Erika, and I was the director for both shows and played a selection of cameos and different characters as well.
Hello, my name is Dan, and I played Badger in Wind in the Willows and Long John Silver in Treasure Island.
Hello, my name is Hannah. I played the role of Mole in Wind in the Willows and Jim Hawkins in Treasure Island.
Excellent. Well, we've got a couple of questions to begin with. Starting with Wind in the Willows from 2018. This is a question for Erika. First of all, how did you come to work on the production? What appealed about Wind in the Willows in particular as a story to adapt to the stage?
Okay, I was trying to think about this actually, and I think it must have actually happened somewhere around 2017.
What?
And even a year beforehand, and I happened to be in the theatre talking to Dario, and he sort of casually mentioned that the town council were doing the soapbox derby and had invited Queen's Park to be an entrant for the following year, 2018.
Yeah.
And I think I very flippantly... And he was also mentioned something about, we might be looking to try and do something for Aylesbury on Sea. They might be trying to change the event up or do something a bit different. It would be nice to do something open air. And I think I very, very flippantly said something about, what would be lovely, if it's a soapbox derby, build Mr. Toad's car and then use that as publicity to do a production of Wind in the Willows a couple of weeks later for Aylesbury on Sea.
It's an excellent logic. Yes.
And we both kind of went, ha 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 ha. And I kind of dropped myself in it because the next thing I know is it's actually happening. And Dario turned around to me and said, "So do you want to direct it then?" Excellent.
That's how the best thing always starts, isn't it? Organically, as they call it. Fantastic.
Yeah, so it originally came from the soapbox derby, as I just had this kind of flash in my head of a an antique car entering the derby, and then I thought, well, what else can we use it? In true Queen's Park tradition, what else can we use it for? How can we recycle the set?
It's like the Henry VIII project. Henry VIII still going the rounds, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the car was sort of like the catalyst for it all. Yeah. And we thought about, Wind in the Willows is a beautifully charming children's story, and if we can get it cut down to a very, very small cast and everything, that could be something that would work very well in the open air. And again, for the design of it, I had the idea that it would be sort of very two-dimensional, so all of the props and all of the set that we would utilise would be 2 dimensions, and the actors would obviously be in 3 dimensions, so you're using that. And I suppose it's a bit like taking my own personal nostalgia from the Cosgrove Hall productions, which was the model animation, but then the backdrops and the backgrounds would all be these beautiful paintings.
Yes, Michael Horden as the badger, wasn't he? Yeah.
Absolutely, and these beautiful paintings. So I had in my head, I could see the sort of 2-dimension and 2-dimensional props and set with 3-dimensional actors interacting with them. And I just thought it would be to be honest, I just thought it would be a very, very charming English thing for a summer's afternoon in the middle of Aylesbury. So that's what it was. That's how it all happened.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, something for all ages as well. Yeah. Oh, lovely. Brilliant. Thank you. So another question we got for Dan and for Hannah. You were all playing characters who are iconic in literature. How do you go about developing a character that many audience members will have knowledge of, that already know about it? What are the sort of challenges, and also what are the rewards of that kind of process?
Do you want to go first, Hannah, or shall I?
You go first, sir. You go first.
Well, the challenge. I think the thing is with well-known characters is that everyone knows what to expect. So if you're playing Long John Silver, they expect you to have one leg, maybe an eye patch, possibly parrot on your shoulder, and talk in a West Country accent like that, or maybe and go ooh ah. So I think the challenge is to be able to produce all that, and I think my accent sometimes went Welsh, and sometimes it went Newcastle, but hopefully, so once you've done that, if you've managed to have all those sort of pointers that belong to that well-known character, the minute you come on stage, they sort of know that you are that character. So it's a nice shortcut straight into the comedy, really, because they know exactly what you're thinking and what you're going to say.
Yes, they know exactly who it is, don't they? Straight off, yeah. Well, they should do. Hopefully,
Well, yeah, that's the
yeah.
idea. Yeah, yeah, that's the challenge. That they do. Otherwise, you failed.
You're in trouble then, aren't you? Yeah, yeah.
So, Dan, what was the difference between like playing Long John and Badger then? Because they're like two very, very well-known characters.
Oh, they are, aren't they? Yeah. Well, they're both on the each on either side of the law, aren't they? There's the good guys and the bad guy. Badger's very authoritative, and everything should be done proper, and is in command, in control, and that's outrageous. How dare you? Now you behave, Toad. Whereas Long John Silver is complete opposite, and he's always up to mischief and trying to get one over in a bad way, isn't he? So it's nice playing one extremely good guy, at least he thinks he's good, Badger. One extremely bad guy, who actually thinks he's good too.
Yeah, Hannah, how about you? What?
Similar to what Dan said, the minute you are dressed up as that character, the children automatically know or should know who you are.
Yeah.
So that does help, I must admit. For myself, I'm 4'11", so I'm hoping I had a similar mole-like quality to it, because I'm quite tiny. So moles he's quite timid.
Diminutive creatures, aren't they? Yes.
Yes, very diminutive creatures. But it was fortunate. Again, I can't speak for Dan, but for myself, the way that Dario edited it for us and worked with Erika on the script, and the way that Erika directed us was beautiful, because they gave us guidance along what was needed, but also the freedom to have fun with our characters, because it is meant the performance was meant mainly for children, but for all ages to enjoy, just to have fun. And I think that was also very rewarding as well, to see the children's reactions and to get them cheering us and having fun. And yeah, I think that was probably one of the best bits.
Yes, they're very much like Pamgaea. They're very much with you, aren't they? All this kind of thing. There's prizes
absolutely.
or
Absolutely.
warm up. They completely know, or they should. Hopefully, most of them will, especially adults, will know what's coming, don't they?
That's it.
Yeah. Well, lovely. Thank you very much, guys. It's great answers. Erika, a question for you. The show was performed in Kingsbury Square as part of a large event. How do you approach directing open air theatre taking place in the midst of lots of different activities?
Yes, there's a key phrase there. Lots of different activities. When we did Willows, we were in a very we were at the top end of Kingsbury. There was, and Kingsbury isn't the largest place. We had an actual fun fair going on. We had an ice cream truck literally next door to us. And we were sharing the performance space that was probably you're probably looking about 8 to 12 feet square, if that, and we're sharing that with all of the other acts. So it was just a case of you come on and you do your spot, and then you have to give way to other people, and so there's a lot going on. So as a director, you're in the middle of a shopping area as well. So you've got people who are wandering through, people who are there with their kids. There's lots of other different distractions going on around. There's walkabout acts going on at the same time. So for me, it's trying to give a very sort of striking visual spectacle as much as possible, because yes, we did have mics, we did have a sound system as well, but with that you can't really compete with a fun fair that's going on next door. You're trying to give the audience who are immediately with you as much as you can, and at the same time try to give as much visual clues so that people who are walking past can get excited and come over, and if they miss this show they can maybe catch the next one. So it was very, very physical, and we had sequences that were sort of designed with physical comedy in mind, that we sort of drilled into the cast to try and get the timing right. And then we had, as I said before, we had these massive, beautiful sort of 2-dimensional sets. Like we had the caravan that was built and beautifully painted. So when you bring that on, that's like a rather striking visual piece. You had the riverbank where you had Mole and Ratty on the boat, and they wore it as braces and did this massive rowing thing. And we had the car as well. So we had these sort of visual set pieces that were designed to try and draw people in, and being as big and as bold as possible. And then the other thing that we do is we try to engage the audience directly as much as possible. It was very sort of panto related. We got bits where we got kids to join in and shout and sing along with us.
Oh yes, yes, great, fantastic, yeah.
We had moments where we brought in members of the audience. I'll tell you a fantastic, one of my favourite memories. I'll tell you about that later on. But yeah, I just tried to make it as visual and as engaging for the audience who were immediately with us at the time, and then try and encourage other people to come towards us by being big and bold and bright and fun. There was very much a sense of fun.
Yes, absolutely.
As well,
yes, it's very hard to catch people's attention when there's so much else going on, isn't there?
Yeah, but I think we did well. They'd set it out with like lots of deck chairs and stuff, and people kind of came in to settle down because they knew the performance schedule. And then at the same time, you could see a crowd developing at the back. And then at the end of one show, people would go, "Oh, we missed it. What's going on here?" And then you'd say, "Oh, come back. We're on again in an hour or so." Yeah. So yeah, it was good.
Lovely. Oh, fantastic. Of course, it's an art in itself, isn't it? So I've got now a question for everybody, really. What are your favourite memories of performing Wind in the Willows? And what, for all of you individually, are the most memorable moments for yourselves?
Well, picking up on the audience interaction that I was just talking about, I think one of my favourite memories is when there's a point where Toad is escaping from jail, and we needed an extra character, and I was playing basically all of the other parts other than the 4 main characters, but then there was this extra character as well, and we decided that we would pull somebody up from the audience and dress them up as a washerwoman, or as the jailer's, or the jailer's daughter or something, and so Mr. Toad can exchange costume with, which basically involved getting a bloke up from the audience and putting them in like a mob cap and an apron. And we got the mayor up. The mayor at the time, Mark, who was an absolute, he was really, really up for it, and went all gung-ho for it. So having the mayor of Aylesbury dressed in a mop cap being berated by Mr. Toad was marvellous. I think that's one of my favourite memories of that. Was that definitely, yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Yes, you can't do better than that.
For myself, it has to be our chase sequence. There's a sequence, Erika knows and Dan will know which one I'm referring to, where we have to chase the very naughty Mr. Toad, Steve, I must admit, even in rehearsals, it was funny. So that for me is a fond memory. Not only performing it in front of the children who were absolutely loving Steve as Mr. Toad and him being naughty, which he just loves to do. But learning this whole sequence, the rehearsal of it was fun as well. But also Mr. Toad's car, which I think was another character. I think, because I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Erika and Dan, where there was a child in it while we were performing, and we had to I don't know if you remember, we were slowly leading up to the bit where Mr. Toad has to drive away in his car, and there was a child from the audience already in it. Oh, so I think, I can't remember who, I think it was possibly Erika went up there to very kindly say, I'm afraid you have to get out now because Mr. Toad needs to use it.
Mr. Toad's got to get away now. Fantastic.
Mr. Toad's got to escape now. So I think that those two memories are pretty vivid for me.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Keystone sort of cop chase. It was kind of this badger with my walking stick. I got overtaken, didn't I? So other people came out of the screen before me when it should have been me. But my other favourite bit, I think, is I've got fond memory of a couple. I think, unless I imagined it, but I just remember seeing the back of Steve's head as Mr. Toad in the car going towards the crowd, not able to stop it. How do we stop this damn car? And I think there's a sense of danger there, which really got the audience's attention. And I think it's good fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think he forgot the brakes were actually on the wheel. They were on the wheel, and I think he forgot that, didn't he? Because as a driver, your intention is to put your foot down on the floor, and there was no pedals. It was all push, and the brakes were on the wheel.
But that's the excitement of live theatre, and all those young people watching that, they'll see this is more exciting than watching something on TV because things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You just have to guess which ones are going wrong and which aren't, of course. Brilliant. Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you so much, guys. That was superb. I'm just so sorry I missed it, but it sounds as if you did a great job. And
that's all right, because I roped you in for the next one.
Indeed. Is that leads me very, very conveniently onto our next topic, which was indeed Treasure Island, which of course was in 2019, wasn't it? So yes, the same sort of format really. So Erika, you directed that. So Treasure Island, they were in a new venue, new stage, and a different approach to the adaptation process. Erika, talk us through the genesis and development of this project. How was this one for you?
Well, Wind in the Willows was one of those, we'll pitch it, and if they like it, let's hope that the town council will ask us back. So we kind of had a bit riding on that, and people did enjoy it. We got some great feedback, so it's like, right, we want you back. And Aylesbury was changing. It was going to be in Vale Park. There was going to be the world's largest sand pit. They were going to cover it in sand. And we there was a lot of sand.
There
was, yeah, and we had the opportunity to very, very kindly have use of a stage truck, which would be like a mobile stage. So we would be on a raised platform. We would be enclosed on a stage with its own dedicated area.
Yeah,
and Vale Park is massive. And so as well as there were other things going on, we were very much in our own sort of performance area, and we had an area roped off where the audience could come in and sit down and everything. So in that respect, it was quite different. I think we approached Treasure Island because we wanted to do another children's sort of classic. Stories being out of copyright is always good. And the fact that it was Aylesbury on Sea, we thought, well, let's make it another sort of sea, beach, nautical theme. And again, it came back to the Soapbox Derby, and I think I said, well, after the car, let's make a pirate ship and do Treasure Island.
As you do, absolutely.
As you do. And I come up with these ridiculously crazy ideas, and then people go with them. And we had the pirate ship, the Hispaniola, was beautifully designed.
It was super. Really?
She was absolutely
barrels
gorgeous,
yeah, barrels and nets and brooms and things, wasn't it? So yeah, I thought it was a very clever idea. It's a bit like sort of Toy Box Theatre, creating something out of nothing, isn't it?
Oh, the set that we had. Yes. So the set that we had for that one was a completely different design, and we used things that you would find in a dock or the pub, the Admiral Benbow's
the Benbow,
yeah. So we had these barrels and nets and brooms and benches, and we used that to create everything else. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Yes, I do like that kind of stuff. So a question really for Dan and Hannah. How did you find performing in such a large open space? What was the atmosphere like on the day? And what were your favourite parts of the show to perform?
It did feel different because we were on a raised platform as opposed to Kingsbury, and there was a lot going on in the park. But I think And like everything with these sort of shows, you've got to go on there and say, "Look at me," haven't you? Really? Otherwise, they'll be looking at anything else going on everywhere else. So
Yes, you got to sort of
grab them.
grab the attention and keep it, haven't you?
Yeah, come on and say, "I'm really important. Watch me," which is kind of weird, difficult to do. But no, it's fun. My favourite bits are, I like the sword fighting because you sense for the little kids, they get really excited seeing sword
Oh,
fighting.
I do. Any jeopardy, any sort of absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, do love a good punch up. Being a fight director, I would have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What about you, Hannah?
I have to agree with you, Dan. I think most of my fond memories of that were performing with your good self, because obviously the storyline does involve Jim Hawkins and Long John Silver, to which it was a pleasure and joy to be bullied by you. Trying to steal my treasure
Pleasure
map.
to bully you, Hannah.
Yes. So yes, it was just fun, and it was a completely different setup. The set, whereas we had a beautiful backdrop for Wind in the Willows, we had an equally gorgeous set and small stage which was set up for us, and I think that helped bring it to life. And again, this time it was great because all of us worked together. I think Erika did an amazing job rallying people. I don't think she left one person alone during the entire day dressed as a pirate saying, "You will come and watch our show," whereas the rest of us are like, "Oh, come and see." Erika was like, "No, you will come and watch our show.
You're going to thoroughly enjoy yourselves."
It will. Yeah. You will come and enjoy yourselves. And it was lovely because we had our section to kind of say, "Yes, this is us. Come and see us."
Yeah, it was a great teamwork thing, wasn't it? I remember. I was Squire Trelawney, wasn't I, in that? Yeah,
you were indeed.
Yes, and I remember just the fantastic sort of playful teamwork of changing the set round. I'm very fond of that kind of stuff. And also, I do remember the one bit where we got the we had to recruit the audience as shipmates, didn't we?
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. Remember one show we got about 2 kids at the front, and I think the second show we got about 60 of them. They all absolutely decided that this is what they were going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, remember when Long John Silver was cheated of the treasure? We had those lovely plastic coins, didn't we? And the kids absolutely adored those. I seem to remember that there were kids afterwards. There were kids looking around for these coins.
That's right, because Dan, didn't you have to throw the treasure, and we had to pick it up, and the kids loved helping us find the treasure. Yeah. And I remember, I remember that heavy chest, trying to lug that heavy chest onto the stage, and the kids thinking that it was chocolate. One of them, I was absolutely convinced it was chocolate, and I'm like, no, it's not chocolate, it's real.
Yeah, I love the way they get involved. It's fantastic, isn't it? Brilliant.
Oh, it was incredible.
Such good fun, wasn't it? Really good. Erika, a question for you. As well as Treasure Island, the cast were around during the event chatting to the visitors in character. Queen's Park Arts Centre were running free craft activities, and you were a judge in the Sandcastle competition, we remember. Tell us about the experience of representing Queen's Park Arts Centre and Unbound at these community events. And what does it mean to you to be an ambassador for Queen's Park out and about? Essay for you there.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it was a long day because I ended up by being on performance mode for the whole day. So I would do a circuit of the Vale Park, which took me actually about an hour, talking to the kids and everything, and encouraging them to see the show. And basically I just kind of wandered around with a big pirate flag and terrorized them as a pirate, and tried to steal ice creams and stuff. But I did and try to get people's attention to what was going on. So I did it. I would do an entire circuit of the Vale Park, come back, and it would normally be about the time when we would perform. We'd perform the show, we'd finish the show, reset for the next show, and then I would walk around again. And so that was my thing throughout the day. But it was being sort of like a public face for Queen's Park is that you want people to know what we can do. And for me, it's really, really important that we're able to be part of the community. We're not just a troupe of actors who show up and do our stuff and that is it.
Indeed.
Look at us. And aren't we marvellous?
It's not a sort of separate art thing.
No. We are very much involved, and we want to share what we can do with the community. So being able to talk to people, so being able to talk to kids and then play with them. I think I ended up by building sandcastles with some of the kids at some point. And then it's a case, you can go over there and you can see this show, or you can go over there and do these activities. And then you've got their adults saying, so what's all this? Who are you? What are you doing? And then you explain, and then it's still, it never ceases to surprise me when people have no idea that Queen's Park even exists in Aylesbury.
Amazing, isn't it? Yes.
And so bringing the notion of the fact that the place exists and everything that you can do there, and just bringing an awareness to the wider community of just what a fantastic place it is. It's terribly important to me personally, and that's why I love doing it, as well as being able to wander around with a big pirate flag and terrorize audience members.
Absolutely. There's nothing finer than that.
And it's a way of it's an open invitation for people to come and join in the arts in whatever way they want to as well.
And certainly people loved all the craft, all the everything. I know the pictures and stuff all the kids made were really popular, weren't they? So I've got a final question, which is for everybody. And this is is there another classic children's story you would like to work on in the future?
Well, I hadn't thought about it too deeply, and I probably thought, if you could do this, it would just be, I thought Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought you've got these, in terms of when you say, right, people expect a gorilla and they expect a bear and they expect Mowgli. You do have a certain, immediately you've got to say, this is a bear that I'm doing, and this is a, we're getting into movement here, aren't we? Serious movement characterization, but
what a fun idea.
Stretch things a bit, wouldn't it?
So you've done a badger, and now you want to, so you've done the English woodland creatures. You now want to move out into jungle animals.
They're more exotic.
More exotic. Expand that CV
I like
down.
to also be able to sing, I want to walk like you, do boo boo do. Unfortunately, I don't think we have time doing these songs.
Well, there was the one that was meant to happen, which we had tentatively started work on, the Three Musketeers.
Yes, indeed.
So we had some plans afoot for that, and that was going to be the one in 2020. And I think for the Soapbox Derby, our entry that year would have been Lady de Winter's Carriage. And I think I was prodding Dario because basically I wanted to be the villain, and I said, well, I think we should do the Three Musketeers because I want to be Milady de Winter. And it's also got, it's got sword fights.
More sword fighting.
So it's got more sword fighting, which was proved very popular from Treasure Island.
Absolutely,
yes.
So we were thinking about, and again, we had ideas about how we could do the doubling so that the Three Musketeers. So rather than normally it's me who ended up by playing all of the other characters, it would be the Three Musketeers doubling up as like Richelieu and the King and Buckingham and everyone, and it would be D'Artagnan and Milady de Winter who would be the two sort of characters who would play the same parts all the way through. So we started work on that, and as and when it might get resurrected, that would be lovely.
Perfect.
But I think also I have an incredible fondness for things like I did an open air tour several years ago of the Railway Children, which was, again, very, very much in the same of Willows. You've got that Edwardian charm and everything. And I think something like the Railway Children could be beautifully done as well. And then you've got, other sort of classic children's shows. I tend to sort of gravitate towards things like The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, but I don't know how that would work for a summer themed on a beach, considering it's set in winter. But that sort of thing, it would be what I would tend to sort of gravitate towards, I think. Those would be my sorts of ideas for that.
For myself, I'm a lover of fairy tales anyway, and I grew up on like ladybird books and stories that were read by people like Maggie Smith on the TV and everything. And I remember one called The Tinderbox, which I really, really loved, and Rumpelstiltskin. I love those kind of not dark fairy tale stories, but one with a really good villain that people could get behind, that you think, oh yeah, that would be very good. Because speaking from a performing point of view, if you are the villain, you can just have fun with it, and the kids seem to always react well to a good villain. So something like
better than winding children up, absolutely.
Yeah, something like Rumpelstiltskin, I think would be quite fun.
Yes, I'm hankering to do the Wizard of Oz again at some point, because I just
Wizard of Oz,
yes.
that would be a good one.
Smashingly superb. Because the lovely thing, it can be as big or as small as you want, can't it? I mean, I've been in big productions of it. I did a theatre and education thing, of course, nearly 30 years ago now, with 4 of us playing everything, and it was just great fun. It was just enormously good fun. But that sort of, because again, everyone knows the characters, everyone knows what goes on, and it's the way you do it, isn't it? So yeah, that's another one for the hint box.
Hint, wink, wink. Who's volunteering to be painted up green, though?
Ah, well, there we are. Right, my lovely people. Well, that brings us really to the end of this episode. So I must thank you all for your thoughts and your memories. There's been some wonderful things discussed, and thank you for everyone listening in. So for more episodes of Tell Great Stories and lots of other great audio and video content, head over to unboundtheatre.co.uk or look up at Unbound Theatre on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or SoundCloud.